All right, take two. Curtis, you tell me when you're ready. Good? All right. So welcome everyone, take two. The mic is now working. Thank you all for joining us for the first of two property tax workshops that we're hosting. Obviously today, we're hosting the first, and then there will be another on February 28th, which is next Wednesday at 6 p.m. So for anybody that's listening online and if you want to come in person, we will have another one next week. My name is Abby Yellman. I'm the Deputy City and County Manager for Broomfield. Thank you all for being here. I'm sure that there's going to be some questions. What our plan for today is to kind of walk through a presentation that's going to include presentation from our assessor, Jay Yamashita, also from our revenue manager, Wai Singh, and then also from our housing division. We have Vivi back there, so she's going to come up and they'll introduce themselves as they kind of walk through the presentation. We're going to walk through that, I'd say 15 minutes, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A. So if you have questions, we would say the Q&A is more general. Like if you just have some high-level questions that would apply, maybe somebody else is, nervous and doesn't want to ask the question, please feel free to do that. I am going to ask you to pause just for a second because we do have microphones since we are recording, we're live streaming. So the folks that are listening online can hear those questions. That would be helpful. So we'll run mics to you and then have you ask your question. If you have something that's really specific to your specific tax bill, I printed mine online this morning, we will have staff stay after so they can talk to you individually if you have specific questions that you'd rather ask privately. That's absolutely fine. So that's kind of what the makeup of the session looks like today, or the workshop looks like today. I am a mom, so I also remember there's restrooms right outside the door to your left as you go out if you need those. And then again, if you have questions today and then you're like me, you walk away and you think of a question later and you're like, oh, I should have asked that, you absolutely can contact our staff. We'll have the second property tax workshop next Wednesday at 6, or you can send us an email, however you'd like to do that. There's always time to follow up. So with that, I'm going to introduce our assessor, Jay Yamashita, who is going to kick us off and get the presentation started. Jay?
Thank you, Abby. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's presentation. My name is Jay Yamashita, and I'm the assessor here at the City and County of Broomfield. We're going to go through some slides with you today, and as Abby alluded to, we'll entertain some questions at the end. We get the first slide, please. So in May of 2023, I'm going to talk about the notice evaluation piece, and you received this in May. So May of 2023, all Broomfield property owners received a notice evaluation specific to their home or property. The notice included the property value that 2023 property taxes payable in 2024 is based on. In November of 2023, Governor Jared Polis announced that they were going to do a special session for the General Assembly and would be held on November 17, 2024, with the focus being on 2023 property tax. So as a result of that special session, the legislature made the following changes. So they reduced the actual value in a value adjustment of $55,000. They also reduced the assessment rate from 6.765 to 6.7%. Deadlines for year-end certifications and processes, they were extended until January, and that's why we resulted in a delay in the mailing of the tax notices themselves. Unfortunately, the legislature did not change those dates and move them back for us. Deadlines for payments by state obviously stayed the same. If there are any additional questions you may have for my department, there's information at assessor@broomfield.org, and again, we will be available for you after this session. Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to Wai Singh Chim, our revenue manager. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Good morning. My name is Wai Singh Chim. I'm the revenue manager, also serve as the treasurer for the Broomfield. Next slide, please. My responsibility include collecting, distributing property tax, also collecting sales tax, processing utility payment, also processing release and foreclosure. 2023, the total property tax exceeds $300 million. Broomfield only retained 25%. The rest passed through to school districts, which is 49%, fire and special districts, total 26%. Next slide. Property tax notice. In a typical year, the property tax notice are mailed to the property owner around the third week of January. This year, due to the legislative change, the finalizations and the mailing of the notice was delayed. We finally mailed out the notice on February 12th. I believe many of you have already received the notice in the mail. The property owners will receive the tax notice regardless of whether they or the mortgage company are making the tax payment. When you open the tax notice, it's normally contains the general information in here, account number, parcel number, and I will explain that in detail on the next slide. Next slide. This is a real example of the tax notice. Let me go over from the top left first. From the top left, it's contained the account number, parcel number, and below that, each taxing authority and the mill levies. In this example, the total mill levy is 106.255. And below the mill levy, there's a legal description of the properties and the location address. We block out those information due to privacy concern. Let's move to the top right area. There's an actual value and the assessed value. Down below that, that will be the total property tax for the full payment, first and second half payments. I will explain in detail how to calculate the property tax in the next slide. Next slide. The state set up the assessment rate. Jay already mentioned that we reduced the rate for 2023 to 6.7% for residential. For commercial, it's 29%. Assessor assigned the value for the properties, and the mill levies certified by each taxing authority. On the table from the right, there's an example for you to calculate your own property tax. On the top, this is based on the previous tax statement. On the top is an actual value of $557,300. When you take that number times 6.7%, equal $37,340. And when you take the assessed value times the mill levy, in this example, you just put a decimal point in front of the 106,255. You will calculate the property tax, $3,967.56. Next slide. Here is the breakdown for the property tax mill levy. You will see each taxing authority have their own mill levy, and you add up all that equal to 106.255. The combined mill levy for city and county equal to 28.968, and it has not increased since 2001. So the Broomfield city and county mill levy has been the same for the last 23 years. Next slide. So when we receive the property tax, my office distribute the property tax and specific ownership tax to each taxing authority on the 10th of each month. School districts get another 3 distributions. Next slide. The Colorado set the due date for the property tax. Full payment, April 30th. If you pay the two equal payment, the first one will be due February 29. Second half, due June 17. Next slide. For those of you who received the qualify for the senior property tax exemption, when you receive the notice on the left, you will see that there's an arrow, purple arrow key point to the senior exemption. It shows 93,708. This number is a critical error. The other, on the up notice printed out from the Broomfield website, it showed the $100,000. So let me stress. The assessed value and the property tax net of the senior property exemption remain the same and accurate among the two notice, even though the one on the left show a different number than the 100,000. So you can compare the assessed value between the two and the property tax amount total, and first half, second half, they all the same. The number is a the critical error on the, it showed 93,000 instead of 100,000. But the assessed value and your tax net of the senior exemptions remain the same. It's accurate. And that's conclude my presentation today, and I will pass to Vivian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vivian. I'm with the Housing Division. So I'm here to talk about what is Broomfield's response to the increase in property taxes and a program that is available to residents. You can go to the next slide. We have a program called Partial Property Tax Refund. So this program is to assist residents that are on fixed income to be able to get a refund on that increase of their property taxes. It's available for Broomfield residents. It's a Broomfield City and County program. Can you hear me okay? Okay. They have to be homeowners, have lived in their home for at least 2 years as their primary residence, meet income qualifications that I'll go over in a minute, and belong to one or more of the categories below. So they can be either a senior, 65 or older, as of January 1st this year, a veteran with at least 80% documented disability of any age, a resident of any age at 100% documented disability, or a surviving spouse. Now, these categories would be the homeowner, right? So if you have a child who's not the homeowner with 100% disability, it would not qualify for the program. Next slide. What are the income qualifications? So we use a lot of the average medium income for Broomfield. The average medium income of Broomfield is the amount that a resident needs to make in able to live in Broomfield without any housing burden. This program, you have to be at or below 80% of the average medium income. So let's say you and your spouse, you would look at the column that says 2 persons, and your annual household income cannot be more than $79,440 a year. Let's say your grandson lives with you. You would look at the 3-person column, and so on. We look at the income for every household member who's 18 years or older. So if you have a grandchild living with you and they're 10, you're still going to look at the 3-person, but obviously the income would be for everyone that is older than 18. The refund is calculated based on the 2021 property taxes and the 2023 property taxes. So we're looking at that difference and capping it at $1,000 refund. So let's say your 2021 property taxes were $2,000 and your 2023 were $3,000. When we calculate the refund, you get $1,000 back. Now, let's say your 2021 property taxes were $2,000 and now they're $2,500. Your refund will be $500. So the intent of the program is to help with the increase, capping at $1,000 maximum. You can see there that we have 60% average median income and 61 to 80% of the average median income. This program, as a lot of you might know, started last year, was a pilot program, and last year was everyone up to the 60% average median income. This year in January, City Council expanded the program to everyone up to 80. If you make up to the 60%, we'll calculate your refund based on your whole property tax bill. If you fall into the category of 61 to 80%, we will calculate based on city and county in Broomfield and school district portion. If we go back to slide 5, you can see that school district and Broomfield portions. So those are the portions that we'll be looking at when we are calculating a refund between 61 and 80%. We can go back, Curtis, thank you. We encourage everyone that think they might qualify to go ahead and apply. We will review the application, we'll do all the calculations, and communicate with you if you were approved, how much your refund would be. We don't want to get anybody worried about all these numbers. We just want to clarify how it would be calculated. But the important thing to think is, if your annual average income is below the $79,000, or depending on how many people are in your home, so let's say you're alone, would be $69,520. Oh, I think I'm around that number. Go ahead and apply. When we are looking at your income taxes, because that's a question I get a lot, your 1040 when you file your income taxes, we look at your AGI, your adjusted gross income. So that can vary too. So I really encourage residents that think they might be in the threshold, go ahead and apply, and we'll review it for you. Next slide. So how do you apply for this program? You can go on our website, broomfield.org/housing programs. There's a button there that says apply here for the partial property tax refund. You can apply on your own online. If you don't have access to a computer, you're reluctant to apply online, we provide walk-in consultations. So we are at the BCC across the street every first and third Wednesday of the month from 10 to 12. First and third Wednesday from 10 to 12. We are also going to be at the library every fourth Tuesday from March to July. So that one starts in March. The other one is going on right now. We will add more locations, with dates and times. It will be available on our website. We're also scheduling for one-on-one consultation if somebody doesn't want to just walk in and wait, but they would like to meet with one of our staff. I have staff here today that can assist you today, can book consultations for another day, and on our website there will be a place soon for you to be able to look and schedule your appointment. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. That phone number right there, 303-438-6350, is a direct line to our team. We also have the email, propertytaxrefund@broomfield.org. And we're here to help with anything that we can. The program will run until September 30th. So you definitely have time to apply. You can wait, to gather all your documentation. If you have questions of what you need, just give us a call. And just as a reminder, the check with the refund, since it's a refund, will be mailed out once you pay your property taxes. So you're definitely encouraged to apply now, but let's say you decide to pay in 2 installments. That second installment is not due until June, so you wouldn't see a refund until after you pay that second installment. I think this is my last one. And these are some state programs. Jay can talk a little bit about them, but I just wanted to reinforce that even if you are already enrolled in one of these programs or you intend to enroll in one of these programs, our local program can be used in conjunction with them. So if you are currently getting a senior homestead exemption on your property taxes, you can still apply for the Broomfield program. Thank you.
Vivian kind of explained everything. This is state-run programs, and that's handled out of the assessor's office, whereas Vivian is handling the local Broomfield programs that are available. So if you have any questions, please go to the website, or you can reach out to our office directly with any questions that you may have if you think that you may fit the bill for one of these exemptions. So I appreciate all your time this morning. Thank you.
So if anybody has any questions, just a reminder, give us 1 second to bring Mike. Thank you for raising your hand. That gives me a little indicator, and we'll bring you a mic to ask your question. And the team, maybe we can have the team come up so we're ready to respond here.
I just want to know if we can get a printout of all the slides. There's too much to write down that quick.
We can do that. Yes, we can print it out. And also, we will put this on the website as well. Usually we put this kind of information on the property tax website. There's a property tax information site, but we also maybe can put it on the housing site too, just so there's a couple places you can find it online as well. Any other general questions from folks in the audience?
I have asked this question many times, and I'm probably going to get the same answer, but I moved into a new home in May of 2005 up in Wildgrass, and had everything lined up, all my payments, was doing just fine. 1 year later, I received a notice that, oh, you are in a special tax district. And my monthly payments went up $300 a month. I thought I was gonna become homeless because I was so shocked. And every time I come in and ask, okay, you've assigned me to a special tax district, and I was basically told that that was because if it was a new area, that went to pay for things like police, fire department, maintenance of streets and those kinds of things. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know. And my other question was, how can I get that changed to not be in, I mean, I've been there, it'll be 18 years now, and it's all built up. And I'm at the low end of those houses up there. I live in a very modest 1,742 square foot house. And my taxes, my property taxes are out of sight. And when I got my tax bill this year, I just wanted, I thought, well, I'm going to be taxed to death, literally, and I have to move. So, do you have any answers for me? Especially about the changes of, can a special tax district, is that carved in stone that you're in a special tax district and you either move or pay?
Unfortunately, that probably is the correct answer. Unfortunately, when you live within these new filings per se, as far as new construction homes, what happens is developers go and they get the bond money up front, which is your Metro District money, to pay for the infrastructure of all the homes, curb, gutter, lighting, and so forth. That's just been a process that's been in place probably for the last 15 to 20 years, that developers were able to get the bond money up front and pass that on to me as well. I live in Broadlands, I pay it as well still. And the premise is, as you state, being there a long time, as the community gets built out, you would assume that that would go away over time. So what happens is sometimes they refinance their bonds, so it extends it even longer. We have contact information to the attorney's offices for whatever metro district you live in, and you are more than welcome to share that with you, and you can contact them directly. That's the only resource we have available for you to actually contact somebody within the metro district. You would be contacting their attorneys to ask them, one, how long do you anticipate this metro district to be in place? And second, is it going to drop? So over time, mine has dropped. Broadlands Metro District has dropped, but understand, original construction took place in 1997. I'm still paying on a metro district. So just understand, it's nothing that the county can control per se. It's just a situation that we've got to take into consideration what their bond money is up front, and that is passed on to the metro district.
The other thing, so I'll be honest, like when you start working for local government, right? I didn't work for local government. I've been in local government about 12 years. I didn't pay attention to this, right? Like I didn't understand that my mill levy in Anthem is different than somebody else's mill levy in Broadlands, like using Jay as an example. So then when I started looking at what was on there, to your point, who are all the taxing entities that's showing up on my bill? One of the things that I've learned is you can, as a resident, most of the metro districts have a board. And so as a resident, they do applications for board members when terms expire and different things, like most normal boards have that, where you can apply to get on the board of your metro district or whatever that district is. Sorry, Jeff, say that. Elections are every 2 years for those boards. Let's let Jeff come up here. Jeff knows everything about metro districts, but I just want to throw that out there because that was something I didn't know, even as a resident living in other states and different things, that you can apply to be a resident board member on a metro district in your neighborhood where you live. Go ahead.
And my name's Jeff Romine, and I work with all these folks, but specific to your question, metro districts are governmental units. They are local governments in and of themselves for that area. They do have a board, and they do have elections for those boards every 2 years. And that, so what Jay was suggesting is get the contact information. Their attorney or their district will be able to tell you when the next board election is and those types of things. They also have minutes for their board meetings. So think of it as just like you do any other governmental unit. That's who makes those determinations. As Wasing pointed out, they present their mills each 2 years, I think, or it's every year. It's every year, right, for certification. So they're the responsible people. In the same way that North Metro Fire District has a board of directors and have their mills. And so those are presented. So all of these districts like that are unique, and they're governmental units in and of themselves and regulated in that manner by the voters and by the residents of those areas.
No, thanks. Thank you for the question. It's a really great question, and a lot of people don't know what that means when they read their bills, so that's a really great question. Does anybody else, and again, you might have individual questions that you want to ask after. That's absolutely fine as well. Does anybody else have a more general question? I think you were next, and then I'll come there. Go ahead. Sorry, you got to use the mic.
Thank you. I have several. Did I understand that you don't get the refund until after the property tax is fully paid? Okay. And then is this partial refund a one-time refund?
It is a program that is running this year, so it's a one-time refund for this year, and then we'll provide information to City Council for next year to see if the program will continue or not. Right now, it's a program that was approved until this year.
Okay, so we would have to apply every year if it continues. All right.
That is correct.
Now, when you apply for the refund to receive it, you said it had to be paid, but if you pay early, would you get it early or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, as soon as it's paid. So we review applications, and then you would get a notification if you were approved or if any documents are missing or if unfortunately you don't qualify. So let's say you submit your application, you're approved, then our team has access to all of the property taxes, and once they're paid, we get the notifications, and then we would let you know. We see that your property taxes were paid. Now your check is being processed and finance will send a check to you. If you have a mortgage, usually mortgage companies pay them in the 2 installments. So most likely it would be after the June deadline.
Okay. Would any indicator show up on the property tax notice like the senior exemption does?
No, because you have to apply for the, yeah, but even, yes, no.
Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Because you mentioned something about applying for the refund. Do they check your tax returns? So should the tax returns be filed before you apply?
I recommend yes, because we need the most current income taxes. Now, you could also apply, there's 3 forms of showing us your proof of income. One of them is your income taxes, which tends to be the easiest one. If you don't file your taxes, if you're exempt, or you're going to do it later on, if you are enrolled in a government program such as SNAP or TANF and some other assisted programs, and you have a letter, we have a list of them on our website, and I have a copy here as well. You can use just that letter. Or if you're currently working or receiving alimony, pensions, you can provide us with all of the sources of income that you currently receive, and then we'll calculate your average medium income for you.
Okay, and another question, did you mention that you had this program last year?
Yes, we started last year. However, last year, the property taxes really didn't see much of a change. So the refund last year for those who applied was very, very minimum. We started the program last year setting up for this year because we expected that property taxes most likely would go up this year since it was a new assessment. So last year program ran for the same period. It already closed. And then this year is the second year of the program.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions from any members of our audience? Always do that teacher pause, right? I'm not very good at it, but I'll just pause for a second. Yep. That's a great question, and I was just going to say, I just saw our Chief Financial Officer, Brenda Ritchie, just actually printed some extras. So there's some on the back table there if you want a hard copy to take with you. If we need more, we can always print more. And then again, we'll make sure those are put online as well. The team will work with Julie Story as our communications director and make sure that that gets put on our web pages as well. Any other question? Yes, ma'am. One second. Thank you for being patient on my delivery of the mic. Thank you.
So can we also get a printout of the application?
We have copies of them available. We also have our team here right now. If you have time and want to sit with someone and start your application with a member of our team, we can do that. I can give you a copy of the paper application, or we can also set up an appointment for another day, whatever is more convenient.
And as a quick reminder, we're having the second property tax workshop, same presentation, next Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. So if you take the application with you, because the team's prepared, so thank you, team. You can take it with you, start to fill it out. If you're like, oh man, I don't know what this means, you're welcome to come back next Wednesday, because we will have staff here again for a little time after the presentation if you have those questions as well.
Yes, and if you prefer to do it in person instead of filling out the paper and bringing it back, but just sit with one of us and do it on the computer, we also have a list of what documents we would need in order to complete the application, so you can take that today as well.
Any other questions from anyone? And again, it's not a one and done. If you walk out, you go home, and if you're like me at 10 o'clock at night, you're like, oh, I should have asked that question. That's okay. Come back next week if you want. Give us a call. Send us an email. Again, in that presentation, if you take one on the back page, that questions page has all the contact information for the different departments. You can even email info@broomfield.org if you want to. It's better to use those specific contacts if you can, but info@broomfield.org will also make sure that those get to the right people if you have questions. All right. Well, we appreciate you all. Do you have another question? No worries. We like questions. That's okay. Somebody at home is wanting to ask your question and they can't, so please.
I just wanted to ask, to pay the property taxes, is there a percentage that if you put it on a credit card, is there a percentage that you pay instead of writing the check?
That's a great question that I better let Wysing answer, because I don't want to get it wrong.
You pay a percentage of the credit card is charged 2.5%. Yeah, 2.5%.
Great question. We get that question a lot. All right. Well, we appreciate you all. To our folks that are listening online, we appreciate you. Again, next Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers, we'll do this presentation and workshop one more time. And then again, please, use the presentation. The recording will be online as well if you want to listen to it again, or any pieces that you feel like you missed. If you want to share it with folks that you know that might be eligible for the the partial property tax refund program or the state programs, please share that presentation, share the recording if you can. We want to get the word out as much as we can. Word of mouth is always the best way. So thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.